Good morning, everyone. Hello. This is Amy, the Mystic Rose Tarot. I'm a day behind in doing this. This is the second decan for the month of October. Oh, I'm sorry, for the month of Scorpio. I was going to do this yesterday, but I ended up doing errands. So anyhow, this is going to be a quick run through of the second decan for the month of Scorpio. The decan is November 3rd to the 12th. And the decans are broken up. I say this each time I do these decan readings so people know what a decan is. A decan is represented in degrees for each astrological month. So we have 0 to 10, 10 to 20, which is where we are right now, the second decan. 0 to 10 is the first decan. Then 20 to 30 is the third decan. And 20 to 30 represents the last 10 days and the degree of the planet in the position of where it is in the sign of Scorpio or any astrological sign. So that tends to wrap up the month of that astrological sign. So we're in the middle of the astrological month for Scorpio in the second decan. And again, that's November 3rd to the 12th. And what I'm going to do is, I did a post on Instagram very briefly about this, and I also shared it on my website so people can see it on both sides. And I'm using a deck that incorporates decans and astrological signs and planetary placements. So I'm going to be using that as a guide, and then I'm going to be pulling 2 cards that relate to the minor arcana of that decan. So each decan, 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, these decans, for those time periods, from 10 to 12 days more or less, there's a minor arcana card that is assigned. And that's what I will be showing today in this video and in upcoming and previous videos. I use the tarot card, the minor arcana card, as a guide. And I also have to clarify that when the planet and the sign are assigned to this to this minor arcana card, it is something that is fixed. It's something that won't be changing all the time. Okay, so you can use, like right now, we're Neptune in Scorpio. Hi, B, how are you? And you can use that as a guide. But astrologically, wherever Neptune is right now, you can use that in association to the placement of this decan. So I'm giving too much information, but I want to give some kind of understanding as to how these readings work. So I will be doing the next one on November 13th to wrap up the decan for the month of Scorpio. I'm doing good. Everyone's pins and needles over here in the States, but that's not going to be a topic of discussion for this video. So let me share with you what I have. So this is the Unified Esoteric Tarot, and this is what I've posted on Instagram for my decan readings. The person who created this deck, Attila Blaga, has his own system of following astrology within the tarot. And this deck in particular that he has, and some other decks on his website, they're broken up, this one here, into the Tree of Life, the Court cards, and the Minor Arcana and Major Arcana. But his placements for the planets and the signs, and so it throws people off who are used to the Golden Dawn astrological correspondences. Because right now for this second decan, Golden Dawn wise, It's the sun in Scorpio. And I'll put a little bit of a, excuse me. That's really funny. That's really funny. So the sun in Scorpio has a different interpretation from Attila's interpretation of bringing Neptune into Scorpio for this decan. So here, and funny enough, we have 666. You have to go online to understand, you have to go to his website to read the breakdown of the numbers. And I haven't really gotten numerology-wise into the number system for this deck because it's very complex. Okay, I'm sorry. I have my cat, and it sounded like it sounded like he was howling, but it's actually some kids outside. Anyhow, I want to make sure he's okay. So to get back, Neptune and Scorpio, our primary focus is, as we know with Neptune, Neptune deals with the unknown, spirituality, but really getting deep into our unconscious self, really tapping into this. And this is something that Scorpio is really good with. They feel comfortable. They feel comfortable in the unknown. They feel they can navigate easily through the darker side of who they are. I feel Scorpios know the darker side of things more than any other sign because of that, because that being part of their personality. And with Neptune and Scorpio, that further emphasizes it and empowers that energy for Scorpio. I also have here the Six of Cups. The Six of Cups is, again, normally it's assigned in the Golden Dawn system. It's normally assigned as Sun in Scorpio. And I have a card here. And the Sun in Scorpio is more of energy, vitality, a really healthy perspective on looking at things. And so this is with the Sun in Scorpio, even though this is Neptune Scorpio, but for example, for the Golden Dawn, Sun in Scorpio actually invigorates the energy of Scorpio. It almost intensifies it. And it really gives Scorpio, let's focus on the positive side of Scorpio, it really gives them that drive to really go for what they really want. Now, the Sun in Scorpio for the Golden Dawn attributes and Neptune in Scorpio, keep in mind the placement is only for that decan. It's only for those 10 days. We're 10 to 20 degrees, so we're in the middle of it. Even though Scorpio was October 21st, I think, October 22nd, which was the first decan, we're now in the middle of the astrological month. So for each decan, as I have mentioned, this is a time that you could start utilizing this influence. Whether you're Scorpio or not, you could still harness this energy. If it's something that you're missing, implement it. Implement the vitality that the Sun in Scorpio has if you're working with the Golden Dawn astrological correspondences, or with this, if this makes sense to you, Neptune and Scorpio. This is a time that to start looking really, this is a shadow time. Even though we just had Samhain, Halloween over the weekend, this is a time to really, if heavy stuff is starting to rise, this is a time to acknowledge it and assess what's going on. But here's the thing. Remember what I was saying? Scorpio has no fear with darkness. Have that strength, have that courage to go into that place and really and really look as to what the issues are going on. You know, what's the cause of it? What's triggering it? But don't be scared. You know, the best scenario out of this is that you acknowledge those issues and you make peace with it and you come out of it. And then that Sun and Scorpio side, you can start using that energy. Neptune is almost like the reverse. It's almost like the retrograde of Sun and Scorpio. Sun and Scorpio is the energy. It's what you're expelling outward to people. And Neptune is what we're looking inside, but we're using the influence of Scorpio in it. And this card holds some really good stuff for me because my Neptune is actually in Scorpio. And so I relate with the energy. When I was younger, I've always enjoyed the unknown, the mystery, more of a curiosity. But then once I faced these different circumstances of the dark side, and the dark side, there's always a light. There's nothing to be scared of. There really isn't. So what I want to share with you next is we have here the Six of Cups. And actually, let me go on a little bit here. Excuse me. We have the word enlightenment. Enlightenment is another thing. We use the energy of the planet Neptune and the forces of Scorpio. They combine together. We look, as I was saying, we go into ourselves. We find things that are just something that we're concerned to face with. But as I had just mentioned, I have to repeat myself. You face it and you make peace with it and you come out of it and you see things in a better perspective, hence the enlightenment. You know, you've reached another part of who you are. You're going up a level. You don't want to go down. Sometimes if a situation comes up, you have to take, like they say, 2 steps backwards to make a step forward. Okay, and don't be disheartened by that. That happens with us. We think things are going good, and then something happens, and we have to take a step back. But keep the drive that Scorpio has to just pursue what you really want to have, what really means a lot, and face this fear. So with the Six of Cups, I pulled 2 cards. I'm going to use the same cards that I posted on my Instagram. And I used, this is from the Dream Keepers Tarot, 6 of Cups. And basically what's interesting is with the 6 of Cups in general, 6 of Cups is about reliving or remembering things of the past. And the 6 of Cups, it tends to emphasize more of a happier time, makes reference to when we were children, or certain circumstances that came up when we were younger that we remember. And also the childlike innocence that we had when we're young, like young, we tend not to know the difference between good or bad, making those choices of what's good or bad. We just go with it. And whatever happens, and those consequences, we deal with it. But the premise I feel with the 6 of Cups is just being open-minded to anything that may come your way. You know, don't be so, you know, don't be in a situation where you start analyzing, you start, you know, picking things and being, you know, more particular. Be open, you know, and I tend to be picky, but there are circumstances where that comes, where you have to be selective in what you're thinking and your actions because of the consequences. So just have an open mind, open heart. Cups deals with the heart, the emotions, intuition, and just let things come your way. Have that fearless attitude of Scorpio, and knowing that nothing's going to hold you back, you know. And so particularly with the Dream Keepers Tarot, Again, it's reflecting on the past. And when you look at the past and seeing, we hear people say, God, it was so much easier when we were a kid, because when you're a kid, your responsibility level is very, very low because you're under the guardianship of your parents. They're the ones that are dictating, what's in the best interest for you. So we rely on that. We rely on that, on the right-mindedness, hopefully, for parents to guide us and to put us in an environment that we will learn from. And also environments are going to be different for people. Some people have a loving environment. Some people have a very challenging environment in various ways. But let's just kind of hold on to this. Let's kind of look at the past. Look at things that we have done, things that have been good, what you've learned from it. This is also a card of growth. We're learning from our past and carrying it on from where we are now into our future. Our past shapes us for where we are, and where we are right now, the choices that we make, we move ahead. We learn from experience. We learn by listening, watching, and hearing, and instilling that and making those right choices. Now, when I say right choices, I'm not pointing the finger and saying that isn't right. What you feel is right, those choices that you make, because you're responsible for the choice that you make and the outcome that comes from it. So the one thing that we need to be aware of, and this applies to all Six of Cups, especially if it is of memories of the past. The past doesn't necessarily have to go all the way back to childhood. It could be something of a few months ago, but something that was of great influence of you in the past. Don't hold on to it for too long, because we start going almost into the Piscean realm of just, the good old days. That was so much fun. I want to relive that. I want those feelings to come back. You can have that. You can harness that and manifest it, but you can't stay in it for too long, because there are things that need to be taken care of presently, the responsibility as an adult. So we can't push those aside. So it's nice to reflect. And it's very important. I think everyone should always relive their moments of childhood, momentarily. And I think when you're a parent, parents do that anyhow through their kids. The parents want to, for the most part, take their children to places that they used to go to when they were a kid, that they enjoyed, and they want to share that moment again with their children, and they get to express it themselves, like amusement parks or certain places that you've traveled to. The pagan otherworlds. Here's Uzi's version of the Six of Cups. This is beautiful. And here we're seeing in the cups, if you look very closely, we see happiness through flowers. I know that sounds weird, but we see health. Not so much a law of abundance, but we see aspects of growth in the cups. Fulfillment, feeling content, feeling happy. Everything that you have right now with the Six of Cups in this card is good. It's also six is a balanced number. And so, but we still have some more work to do. We have 4 of the cups that are filled, 2 that are not. And so it's just, again, as I was mentioning, let's try not to get lost in the beauty and the wonder of what was in the past, because there is still work that needs to be done. We still have to work on our emotions and And also because Scorpio is known as an intense sign at times, let's just kind of take a moment to just calm the intensity and still approach things with the desire and the drive that Scorpio has, but be a little bit more compassionate in it. Because if you go too quickly and you're moving on with things and things are happening, you may miss some situations that could have been vital and that could have enhanced what was going on, you know. And again, I'm trying to pull this card up. We have the Enlightenment, you know. This all comes from within. The joy, the happiness that we see here and here, it all comes from within. And that's what we're looking for in creating a balance and not getting lost in the past because of the responsibilities that we still have for these two cups that we see here that still need to be filled. So let's look within ourselves, the spiritual side of who we are, you know, and let's find that enlightenment. Let's find that happiness. Let's find that sweet spot that can allow us to just see things in a different perspective. Oh. And also Scorpio rules the 8th house of transformation. So with enlightenment, to get to enlightenment, we have to transform, we have to shape shift, we have to go through all these different layers to reach here, the level of enlightenment. And also as we are younger, when we're kids, we're transforming anyhow. We're not adults when we're kids. We're learning, you know, we're learning by experience. We're learning by hearing, listening, and speaking. And that shapes us who we are, even when we're younger. When we're younger, as we're transforming physically, emotionally, mentally, we're also transforming spiritually. And a lot of kids, they're not aware of that. They feel something. Sometimes they just can't explain it. And that's the shift that's going on within them. They're trying to figure out, you know, emotionally they know there's stuff that's going on, but it's going at a deeper level. And so they're trying to find that spot that makes them good or that makes them, you know, upset, and they can't explain what it is. It's not until they get older and they grow and they learn a little bit more about themselves. I mean, these cards are beautiful cards. You know, the message that they have outside the images, you know. The cups are water, the water element. Scorpio is a water sign. So there's a lot of movement. There's a lot of flow. Scorpio is also a fixed sign. And so that's where the drive, like not knowing when to stop, can be a bit of an issue for Scorpions. They have this drive and they're fixated. Once they know that they need to, you know, attain something to either find the answer to, they're going to keep going. Blinders are on. Nothing's going to change their perspective. Based also on their chart, their astrological chart, there's other influences. But for people who are heavily Scorpio, that's a fiery, because they have also Mars as their energy influencer planet that gives them the inertia to move. And then we have Pluto, which is their main sign of transformation. So they have two planets in their sign, Scorpio, that's moving, that's passionate. They really love things. And The Scorpios I've met, I love their energy so much. They're my opposing sign. We do have opposites, but we balance out each other because what one is lacking, the other one is gaining, and vice versa. So we can learn from that. They have that fiery drive of going and tearing down with Pluto influence. It needs to be maintained. It needs to be controlled a little bit. And so Scorpio, even though with that fixedness, you think it's controlled, it can look from other people that it's out of control, that they're just very intense. So we have to ease things down with the emotions. And spiritually, that's something that I feel the sign of Scorpio is really good at. Once they know their spiritual selves, all aspects of their darker selves, they can be one of the most strongest spiritual signs, I feel, out of all the astrological signs, because they're not scared. They're not scared of going into that dark place. And because they know what it's like and they've come out of it. You know, they can be extremists, and sometimes they like that. They want to go into that place to explore. And then they come out of it and they share their experience. And once they, again, like I said, once they've set themselves on a direction, they're very focused on it. It's just that it has to be maintained in such a manner. So the enlightenment that we see here through Neptune and Scorpio just comes with that drive of finding our true, deeper, dark self. And you'll know it. You'll know what it is. And once you hit that, spend time with it. And then come out of it like the phoenix rising from the ashes. And then you see things in a different perspective. So this is for the week of November 3rd to November 12th. We are in the 10 to 20 degree Decan for the month of Scorpio. The next Decan, as I mentioned, I will do a reading for November 13th. I think it's November 13th to maybe the 22nd. The Decans are more or less like 10 days, 7 to 10 days. So focus on this energy. The sun is in Scorpio right now. Neptune, right now off the top of my head, I'm not sure what sign it's in. I think Neptune could be in Pisces. I think it is in a water sign, but I think it is Pisces. So use that influence of the Neptune in Scorpio, where we are right now, and then look astrologically, as I mentioned, where Neptune is in relation to, if it is Neptune and Pisces. Harness those two energies, because if it is Neptune and Pisces, that's going to be very heavy, because Pisces can lose themselves in their own world. And so it's kind of hard for them to they go with the flow, but it's kind of hard for them to go out, be on the external side of things. They're functioning at the conscious level, going to work and whatnot, but they're still in their own world. So if it is Neptune and Pisces, that Neptune and Scorpio, I think, could be a little bit more of a fiery influence to move out of that. You don't want to get stuck, as I mentioned here, with the Two of Cups, or I'm sorry, with the Six of Cups. You don't want to be stuck reliving in the past, being lost in that realm of childhood, past influences. We want to remain focused and be present to where we are. So that's the message here. I will be back either November 13th or the 14th. I have to see what day it falls on. And I will give a reading for the 20 to 30th degree of Decan of Scorpio, which will round out the end of Scorpio. the month of Scorpio. And then we're going to move into Sagittarius. So remember enlightenment. Use the Six of Cards. I'm on a roll today. Use the Six of Cups as your guiding source for this decan. Again, Sun in Scorpio is also another astrological influence for the Six of Cups, depending which one you feel you can relate more with, either Neptune and Scorpio. This is Sun in Scorpio for the Golden Dawn astrological correspondences. And here it's of vitality, happiness, joy in the moment, but also being aware of taking care of our responsibilities to ourselves and to everything else around us. Alrighty, so I will be back this afternoon. I had mentioned earlier I was going to record this, but I did not have a moment to do so. So this is why I'm doing it live, and it's a little off the cuff. But I will be back this afternoon, 3 hours, at 2:30, where I will be doing oracle readings from 4 oracle decks. I do it every Wednesday. B, if you're still around, if you're still up, feel free to check in. But thank you for popping in if you're still online. And I will be back again November 13th or 14th for the 3rd decan, 20 to 30 degrees. And the card that we will be closing with will be 7 of Cups. And we'll explore that with the current astrological placement of the planet and the sign at that time. So that's it. This is Amy, the Mystic Rose Tarot. This was very impromptu and very last minute, but I hope you enjoy. If you have any questions, feel free to leave in the comments. I have my website that you can make reference to. I also have this reading on my website, www.themysticrosetarot.com. You can read more about it. And then today, 2:30, I will be back to do some oracle readings, live oracle readings. I do accept donations, and I have all that information in the description. So I hope to see you back in 3 hours, around 2:30. And until then, have a wonderful day, evening, wherever you are. And I will be talking to you soon.